Max versus Alonso continues into Saturday with another 1-2. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Racing. We have the last practice session before qualifying. Max Verstappen has put it top. He was in P1, but not far behind was Fernando Alonso in the Aston Martin. We've seen these two being competitive when it comes to practice sessions. However, when it really matters, when it gets to quali, when it gets to the race, the Red Bull just seems to have too much for Aston Martin. Will that be the case this week again, or can Fernando Alonso do something? We'll have to wait until quali and Sunday to find out. Max Verstappen with a fastest lap of 1:17.565. Alonso a 1:17.727. Not much in it, but a tenth and a half was the difference between Max Verstappen and Fernando Alonso. So very close at the front. Alonso obviously was quickest in P2. Max was quickest in P1. Now, it did rain in P2, so you can question the legitimacy of Alonso's fastest lap. But regardless of whether he would have finished P1, in P2, in practice 2, I don't think that really matters. What matters is that Fernando Alonso is close to Max Verstappen. I was going to say the Aston Martin is close. Well, that's not really the case. Lance Stroll's almost struggling to break into the top 10. He came home in 9th. But speaking of struggling, Max Verstappen's teammate Sergio Perez really struggling. Now, he did manage to make up a lap time of a 1 minute 18.1 towards the end of the session, which got him 6th place. But goddamn, he could not stay on the track for the majority of that practice session. How many times did he lock up? I think he was off the track like 4 or 5 times. He could not take turn 1 correctly, and it's disappointing for Perez. After seeing him win in Saudi Arabia, after seeing him showing some great pace against Max and matching Max for that race, it's we're hoping that we can maybe get a title fight, that Perez can take it to Max Verstappen. And I know this is only practice, but it's very disappointing to see Perez, doing what he did in Saudi Arabia and then seeing this. So, can Perez do anything in qualifying? Based on what happened here, I think if he could get second right now, I think Perez would take that. I think it's damage limitations for Perez. He had a horrible session. But who didn't have a horrible session was Alpine. Great result for Alpine. 3rd place for Ocon. 5th place for Pierre Gasly. And it looks like they have legit pace here. So, Alpine, just how good can they go when it comes to quality, when it comes to the race? They have 2 cars in the top 6 here. I don't see why they can't repeat that. I think Alpine could repeat that in qualifying for the Australian Grand Prix. We'll see if they can get at least 1 car in the top 6, but based on how they're performing at the moment, I think they could maybe get 2, and who knows, if we get a safety car, if we get maybe a retirement or 2, maybe Alpine could even take home a podium on Sunday if they play their cards right and they get luck at the right time. With Russell in 4th, like I said, Sergio Perez in 6th, Carlos Sainz in 7th, his Ferrari teammate Leclerc in 13th, not good. Again, Lewis Hamilton in 8th, behind his Mercedes teammate. Mercedes and Hamilton not really doing that well this season. And Hamilton, let's be honest, guys, he's been shown up here by his younger and less experienced teammate George Russell. So, Hamilton can blame the car. You can say the car's not good, but George Russell's doing more with the car than Lewis Hamilton is. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see if Lewis Hamilton can, get better, throughout the weekend. We had Sue in 10th, Nico Hulkenberg in 11th, Albon 12th, like I said, Leclerc 13th. Another poor session for McLaren, Pistari in 14th, Lando Norris coming home dead last in 20th. And then down the bottom, we had the likes of AlphaTauri, 16th and 19th, just not very competitive at all. And Kevin Magnussen, surprisingly, in 18th place. So, the grid does look compact. There doesn't look to be that much. That's what I would say, actually, about this year's field. I think this is probably... Now, Lewis Hamilton said this is the most dominant car we've ever seen, the fastest car we've ever... I disagree with that. I would say this is probably one of the closest fields we've ever seen. And I'm not denying it. Obviously, the Red Bull is quicker than everyone else. But, normally in F1, sometimes you've got like a 3-second gap sometimes between the, the number 1 car and the last car. But I think that there isn't that much this season. Honestly, I think it's pretty close, especially if you take out the Red Bull. If you take out the Red Bull, there's really not that much between the next best car and the slowest car. You're talking maybe just over a second separates, 9 teams. So, yeah, pretty competitive, guys. We'll see what happens in quali. Always a chance of rain. So, yeah, at the moment, I would probably predict Max Verstappen to get pole, but you never know. Maybe Fernando or maybe even one of the Alpines can pull it out the bag. Anyway, guys, that's it. Catch you in the next one. Stay tuned. A lot more content coming throughout the weekend, and I see you later. Till then, though. Peace.